Hello guys, and today I'm bringing you a What Decklist, the What Hopperlock variant of it, and in the future I may make a decklist of the Hunders as well, which were just a very different playstyle to this one, but this is the one I prefer and have played in real life, and it seems to actually really annoy other people, but it's quite fun to play, quite good to get the Hopperlock out, quite fun to see people struggle against you. Anyway, the first card I have is Thunder Seahorse, which is the Searcher. Just discard it to add 2 level 4 Thunder type monsters to your hand with 1600 or less attack, which is all the other monsters in this deck that are like the Watts, other than another Thunder Seahorse, which you can't add to your hand, I think. Actually, no, you can. You can. It's 1600 or less. What was I thinking there? Anyway, the next card I've gone with is What Giraffe, which is the key, well, I'll say the key attacking Watt monster. If you attack with this first, it stops your opponent actually being able to respond to the rest of your Watt monsters attacking. But if you attack with this first, they can actually stop this attack. But it forces them to respond to this attack rather than the others, because what Draft does is if it attacks directly successfully and inflicts damage, it actually stops your opponent using like any effects for the rest of the turn. So you attack with that first, then with What Cobra, they can't activate anything on the What Cobra. So it just forces them into a response. The next monster is Honest, which is just a protection card. Discard it and when you're attacking or either getting attacked, and your monster, well, a light monster, will gain the attack of the opponent's monster, which is good for getting over pesky monsters on their side of the field, or in protection and keeping it on the field. But unfortunately, if you use it on the What Hopper, it would mean like both monsters would be destroyed, just as a warning. But on anything else, it will mean your monster will survive, usually, unless they use a shrink on your monster and it'll still get destroyed, unfortunately. Anyway, the next monster is What Pheasant. If you attack directly, it can remove a monster a face-up monster from the field. So if it attacks directly and removes an XYZ monster, the two materials on it will 2, 1, 3, whatever. The amount of material monsters underneath it will actually get sent to the graveyard. So when it comes back at the end of the turn, it won't have any material underneath it, which is really good getting over those XYZs that aren't like that can affect your Hopperlock, but like mass destruction and stuff. So it's quite good to do that, because I actually used this against someone in the league, which stopped them destroying everything on my field, and then led on to me winning the game and getting a bit higher in the league. I think I ended up getting 3rd in the end for that one. Anyway, the next What monster I've gone with is What Cobra. This is also a search for the deck. If it successfully attacks directly and inflicts battle damage, you can add 1 What monster from your deck to your hand. So you can add like a What Hopper if you've already got one out on the field to summon, or just add like another like attacking monster if you've already got your What Hopper lockout, like What Giraffe, like to increase the damage against them. So it's just What Cobra is really just filling the deck and adding the monsters to your hand which you require. Like you can really just add another What Cobra and then get 2 of them out and search for everything, which is like a thought to consider when playing against someone. Anyway, the next monster I've gone with is What Dragonfly. What Dragonfly, when it's destroyed by either a card effect or by battle, you can special summon a What monster from your deck, which is good if you've got like a What Hopper in your hand and it's their last attack, and you get a free summon on the What Hopper, and then next turn you can just normal summon the other, and you've got the lockout easy enough. But beware with that, because if people have Torrential Tribute like I've added in with this deck, it'll get rid of both of them, and then you've just got to rely on either Recycling Batteries or Call of the Haunted. So the next card is obviously the Hopper, which is the lock, because its effect is your opponent can't select another face-up What monster on the field as an attack target or target them with card effects. So if you have 2 on the field, they can't actually attack or use card effects on your monsters unless it's mass destruction. If they're both in attack mode and you attack with one of them, Mirror Force will destroy them, but I don't see why you'd attack them. I was just using that as an example. They can also do it with Red Dragon Archfiend if you have a monster set face down. If he attacks that monster, it will destroy both of them. Also, Dark Hole and Torrential Tribute will destroy all of them. But a way to get over this is if you add in is Starlight Road, which allows you a free Stardust as well. Anyway, getting onto the spells, I've got the first one is 1 for 1. If you have a What Giraffe and a What Hopper in your hand, normal summon the What Giraffe. Use 1 for 1 to discard the Water Hopper to the grave. Special summon the Water Hopper from your deck, then call a haunted that Water Hopper from the graveyard. That was just a play I was going through earlier. But also with 1 for 1, if you discard a monster to special summon a Water Hopper from your deck, you can normal summon from one from your hand still. So that gets out your Water Hopper lock really easily, just with the 3 cards, or 4 if you count the discarding card. Anyway, the next card is Dark Hole, which is just mass destruction and field control. Like, they get quite a lot of monsters up, or have got rid of your lock, or it's before your lock. You can get rid of quite a lot of monsters. Cause like, as I've seen with the newest kind of like decks, and like from last year, they like to swarm. So Dark Hole will just really regulate like them. Cause like, I remember in 6 Samurai, you could like burn your whole hand getting a field out. But if you haven't even got Cheyenne or they've negated something beforehand, Dark Hole it, and then you've got rid of all their monsters and what they can do. So then you've got a good standing for the next few turns. Anyway, the next card I'm going on to is Recycling Batteries. What am I saying? Discard. Activate it, and you can add 2 Thunder type monsters with 1,500 or less attack from your graveyard to your hand. Which it wasn't primarily made for the Watt deck; it was made for the Batteries deck. But with this, you can add all the Watt monsters back to your hand. But unfortunately, you cannot add the Thunder Seahorse because it has 1,600 attack. But it still lets you recycle like Watt Dragonfly and Watt Hopper if they're in the grave and you haven't got any more in your deck or hand to get them back out. To get the Watt Hopper lock back out even. Then next is Mythical Space Typhoon to get rid of like face down trap cards and stuff, because that's the biggest enemy of this deck is like mirror forces and stuff, because primarily the deck is attacking directly after protecting them. Like, they're relatively low leveled as well, low leveled and low attacked, so you have to keep attacking. It's not like a one OTK like or an FTK kind of thing. You have to keep dealing periodic damage, so that gives them the opportunity to draw a trap card and set it, because you need to attack again. It's like if you get like 3 successful attacks off, then they deck a Mirror Force, set it, and you attack again. You've lost all your attacking monsters. But if you have your Watt Hopper lock, like your Watt Hopper cards in defense mode, that'll keep them on the field for you to re-summon them out. Then with Recycling Batteries and Call of the Haunted, you can just bring them back. But that's just a thought to consider. Like them drawing a Mirror Force or whatever, if they use it, or you've got it in their extra deck. Not their extra deck, their side deck, sorry. Anyway, last spell card is Book of Moon, which is really just for protection purposes, like with effects. They can book them so their effect doesn't, I think it stops their effect, does it? Maybe. If it's like a continuous effect, it'll stop it. Or if they're attacking and you haven't got your lockout yet, if they're attacking Booking, it stops the attack, which is just an extra layer of protection. Then I'm going to go on to my trap cards, which mainly for protection or control. So it's like the 3 Waboku here. Take no battle damage this turn, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, which is the main effect of that card, which is required. So it just keeps your Watt Hopper on the field for a turn longer, or your Watt Dragonfly or whatever, or your Watt Draft, regardless of what you have on the field, just keep it out longer. You can also activate it at like the start of the turn before they can even like MST or whatever. You can even activate it in response to an MST. But if they activate like Cold Wave or something, well, it's banned, but before it was banned, if they activated it, you could have probably activated Waboku before it. Because if you're activating a draw phase or standby phase, it would stay for the turn. So it's not like a battle phase only card, which is what I'll say when I'll go more into that when it comes up to Threatening Roar. Next card is Bottomless, which is really just for field control, like if they get a high monster with 1,500 or more attack, which will jeopardize your Watt Hopper lock or your life points, like your remaining life points in the game. You can Bottomless that monster and it's just gone. Bottomless is just a well-known card, really. I don't need to go into this much. The next card is Free Threatening Roar. As I said before, I choose this over Mirror Force because Mirror Force, they have to attack for you to activate it. Although it does destroy the monsters and Threatening Roar doesn't. Threatening Roar can be activated at like the start of the turn, so like Mirror Force, there's nothing stopping it getting MST'd. But Threatening Roar you can actually activate in the main phase in response to an MST being used on it to stop them attacking the whole turn. So it's just that's why I choose it over Mirror Force, which people are like, oh, why don't you have Mirror Force in, because you can get rid of all their field, and you're like, well, it can get destroyed easily and negated easily if they have like a Starlight Road or a Stardust if people use them anymore. But anyway, that's why I choose Threatening Roar over Mirror Force. On the next card is Torrential Tribute, which I was talking about before. It's just another card for field control. Like if they summon too much stuff which can stop your Water Hopper lock, just destroy everything, have a clean slate. It's not really hard to get the Water Hopper lock out again, although it may be hard for the opponent to get out their monsters again, so it sort of leaves you in good standing after you've activated it. But it can be stopped, which is what, it's like a mass destruction card, isn't it? So, but anyway, next on is Magic Cylinder. Like, I've seen like a few other deck lists to get like inspiration with this deck list, but I feel like this one is like my standard one now. I will update it if I feel like there are better alternatives to add in. But with Magical Cylinder, as I was talking about before, the what monsters like, is it like gradual attacks? Like it will take multiple ones to beat an enemy. So if they attack with a high level monster and you activate Magical Cylinder, it's just that extra bit of damage, which like can mean a lot. Like if they attack with a 3000 monster, you deal 3000 to them, or 2500 or whatever. That's quite a lot of damage compared to like, to do the same as 3000 it would be 3 attacks from like what Cobra. So that can chunk their health really quickly, meaning like you'll win the duel quickly. So I don't understand why people don't use this card as much as it should be used. But anyway, carrying on, I've got the compulsory evacuation device, which has been limited to 1, otherwise it would be free in here. But it like, you can get rid of monsters, like instead of being like destroyed, like a single destruction, like people like can stop destruction, like single destructions. But compulsory gets over that and just sends it back to the extra deck or whatever. If you bounce a synchro monster as an XYZ monster, which sends the materials to the grave, which is quite good for stopping them getting really high level monsters out. And then next on is Call of the Haunted, which I was just talking about before. It's just if you've got like the Watts in the graveyard or the Hopper in the graveyard, Call of the Haunted it and get the Watt Hopper lock out easy enough. Or if you've already got the Watt Hopper lock and you haven't drawn a Watt like Giraffe or Watt Cobra for a while, just Call the Haunted like Watt Cobra. Watt Cobra then attacks directly and you can search a Watt to your hand, which there you've just got 2 monsters out of just 1 Call of the Haunted. Then Watt Cobra can keep attacking and keep adding to your hand. So it's like a really like game changing card if you play it. And that's really just the main deck, which is 43 cards over the standard 40, which is the lowest you're allowed. But those 3 extra cards are like well founded, because like if I took 3 cards out it would be in the spawn traps, but the spawn traps all play a key role in the deck, so I can't really limit it anymore. But 3 cards, it's not going to affect your drawing potential that much. Now onto the extra deck. Starting off with 2 Vylon Die Sigma. It requires 3 level 4 XYZs unfortunately, but you can detach 1 to equip one of their monsters, like face attack position monsters, onto it, like effect monster, but not many people use normal monsters anymore. But you can attach to it, which gets rid of like one of their high level monsters, and you can attack with it, like attack directly if that's their only monster, or regardless, it just gets rid of like pesky monsters on their field. Next on is Utopia, which is one of the first XYZ monsters which was made or published, or whatever you want to call it, and just negates an attack by detaching 1, and it only requires 2. It's just really an extra option if you've only got 2 level 4s on the field and you're far from getting the Watt Hopper lock out, although it is relatively easy to get out the Watt Hopper lock out now after playing this deck for quite a while. And also I've included Thunder Spark Dragon, because if you get like 3 level 4 monsters onto it, you can then detach all 3 XYZ materials from that card. You can destroy all of the face-up monsters in the field. So if they've got like Frog Monarch, people still use it, and some like those massive ass monsters, like there's like those, what are they called? Like they're monarchs, but then they're like extra, like they're bigger monarchs, like higher attack and stuff. If they bring out that and have no back row, because they're using the exploiting Treeborn Frog, destroy all their high level monsters, then Thunder Spark Dragon can just attack directly. 2,400 directly is quite a lot. So it's just one monster to consider in the extra deck. Then the last is Starliege Pladinamo. It's got a dodgy ass name on this for some reason. But anyway, detach 2 to make a monster's attack 0. So if they got like a 3,000 attack monster on their field, you make it 0, then attack with Starliege Pladinamo. That's 2,000 to them. And also, when it's destroyed, you can draw a card, which refuels hand advantage, which is also a positive aspect of that card. Anyway, that was my What deck for you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week for another Yu-Gi-Oh deck list, and in the week for gaming videos.